And we're live. Who all is here? Junkyard D was here early. Of course, I didn't set the live up until just a few minutes ago. Mostly Mopar running second in the No Name 500. He's at 417 subs, closing the gap on left turn dodge. Wouldn't it be something if he passed him and got to 500 first? Danny Boyd is here, unfinished project. Dust Devil Garage. Brian's rolling early tonight. Buff Del Campo. Colleen Tebow, Madam Secretary, is here. Big Mike of the Hoopty Barn. Aunt D, Mean Street Mopar. No Name 500 front runner left turn dodge. He's 35 away, so we might be having a 500 live really soon with him. NSB Custom Cars, JB's Little Shop. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is well and having a good Friday. On this Good Friday, I think, I don't keep up with such things, but I think that's what this Friday is. I had planned to mow grass today, fired up the mower, smoke just rolling off the front. I thought maybe I had something hung up in a belt. No, valve cover started leaking all over the exhaust. I'm like, well, yeah, it's not too bad. I pull it off. I dropped one bolt, rolled under the muffler, and vanished. Can't find it for anything. It vanished. I have looked all underneath the muffler, under the frame, on the ground, rolled the mower back. It's gone. I'm telling you what, Penn and Teller have nothing on how bolts like that can vanish. Doing my best to put some pressure on left turn dodge. You've closed that gap down pretty well, actually. Danny Boyd cut the grass yesterday. Yeah, I usually have that goal of trying to have blades spinning by April 1st. It's close. I should mow tomorrow. But I got to find that bolt because I can't put the valve cover back on. It was just put on with, looks like RTV at the factory. It's the first time it's ever been off. And it just started leaking. So anyway, I'll fix it, but I got to come up with a bolt. Ryan Bar's Ness is here. JB got exhaust on the Blazer. Right on. Pure Pontiac Garage. And there is the link to left turn dodge, by the way. He says, come get me. Well, you're 35 subs away. We should be having a No Name 500 over the top 500 live here real soon with left turn dodge. Lone Wrench Garage says hello, John, and everyone else. He has to bracket me out separately. I guess it's an attempt to humanize me, I reckon. Glad everyone could make it. Yeah, I went around the yard, got everything picked up. I got a little tree I'm thinking about taking down on the west side of the property tomorrow. The town is doing their pickup stuff, so I might just do that. Giant magnet at the front of the mower. You might, maybe. With my luck, the magnet would vibrate off, go underneath, and go under the deck. The blades would hit it and shatter it in 1,000 pieces. No, I don't know. I got to try to find it. If that happens, we're both going to get there. Yeah. Right. You're both going to get there. No doubt. Jay's Junkers has a premiere later tonight after tonight's live. On a Corvair van. Lunar Outlaw Garage says, good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing super well. He asks how Mr. Wilburn, how's it going? Well, I don't know. I'm not Mr. Wilburn. My dad always used to say that Mr. Wilburn was his dad. Lunar says, I see we're back in the OG room. Yeah, well, yeah. I didn't get back down to work anymore this week, so I'm not coming from the world headquarters of Air Tool Repair. Not tonight, anyway. Thumper says we still have snow here. It was close to 80 degrees today. I don't know what it actually got to. High, it says high 78, so yeah, not bad. And I sent Lone Ranger contact info Thumper, so he's got it. No, they have not. Well, I'm just running off data. It's just thing number 100 on my list. I have a wheeled magnet, but I mean, I rolled this thing back and I looked everywhere, hands and knees, for this bolt on a concrete slab. I just don't know where it could possibly be, but I'm going to look. I mean, if not, I'll just find another bolt. But of course, you would think it'd be an easier bolt to find. It's a 10 millimeter head on the bolt, so just like 10 millimeter sockets, you can't find those. Aunt Nancy says, "Good evening, everyone. Hello." Danny Boyd. I have a feeling Danny Boyd's the kind of guy that wears sleeveless shirts all year long anyway. Dean Stevenson from the other side of the earth. I guess it's going into winter for you guys, right? Danny Boyd only has 2 sleeveless shirts right now. We call it autumn here. Okay. Yeah, we hear that occasionally here. Lone Wrench has been way too busy ordering a lot of parts. But do you have any shirtless sleeves? No. I was gonna say I don't have any like compression sleeves or anything. Lunar Outlaw says we're currently in mud season. Okay. Bar's Nest says we've got lots of rain here. Hopefully it dries up and get cars out. I didn't think about compression sleeves. I don't know, cylinder sleeves, compression sleeves. Left Turn Dodge is a new girl named Autumn. She was a klutz, so I just called her Fall. I think there's girls at the bank with that name Autumn. I think that's about the only place I ever see it. I think it is. It still a popular name, or is it a used to be? Or I don't know the trends with names. I don't really keep up with them, but I know that's a name. I know John Force has a daughter named Autumn. I think she's the one who was married to Robert Height. Big Mike says, I find that sleeves are seldom necessary in my little corner of the world. Okay. I'm just simple. I usually short sleeves. I like long sleeve shirts too, though, but usually a short sleeve shirt. Today I was just kind of being a bum. I worked on dirty stuff today in the driveway. Mostly Mopar said it started raining here an hour ago. It's been about a month since rain here. Oh, yikes. No, we've had plenty of rain here. Plenty of rain. It's grass growing season's in full swing. I would have mowed here, but I had to deal with that with the mower. Well, the deck got all wonky on the mower too. They just make that stuff so cheap to try to, I guess the good cost where they can sell as many mowers as possible. But they make that stuff so cheap and so poorly made. Deck just comes loose on the mower because it's just this junky system of tabs and pins and stuff. No reason stuff needs to be that poorly built, but I mean, I've watched the prices on these mowers triple in about 10 years. Stephen Holtz just drive it. He says, howdy, y'all. Hello, glad you could make it by. Mostly Mopar says it's pollen and wasp season here. Evans Mopar Scott, howdy. Jay's Junkers just jumped in to say hello and let y'all know my first long video and hope to see y'all at No Name Nationals. Well, I know he's got a premiere tonight after this live, and it's premiering his first long form. It's on a Corvair van. But Jay, are you planning to participate? Or are you going to jump in the No Name 500? Are you coming as a spectator? I mean, either way, you'll have a great time. Thumper says, this E15 thing is getting lots of videos with bad info. I'm about to go all A10 on them. Okay. Dan, the IT guy. Howdy. He says, what's up, all? Direct connection. I never thought I'd drive over 8 hours round trip for a 7 1/4 rear axle, but here we are. How is that possible? I don't know how that's possible. How did we wind up doing that? Mostly old parts wrong words says, good evening, folks. Dan, the IT guy, says, congrats on winning best comment on Thursday. Okay. I was buffering for a little bit, still glitching on my screen. Yeah, I didn't even know I was participating in anything. I just clicked on their live and stuck around a minute, and then I got a call I had to take and leave because I work all the time, you know, off and on all the time, every day. So I had a work call, even though it was night. I took it. And then I get an email saying I want to comment tonight. So yay me. It was fun, though. If it wasn't Jason, I would wonder about that trip for a 7 1/4. Well, Jason's a warrior. I get that he would do it. He needs it for the Belvedere. Rhinelander. What is Rhinelander? How far is that away? What state is that in? Heavens Mopars had a sweet Corvair van, but sold it before I started my channel. That thing funded all sorts of other projects. Yeah, the Corvair's neat. The Corvair's neat. The van is neat. I've started seeing a handful of the vans where I didn't before. They've got a resurgence in popularity, but there's very few left. Lars puts up a link to Jay's Junkers premiere. There you go. Stephen Hoth says, keeping the Slant 6 running. Sounds great. It's a worthy little engine. Yeah, we have a glitch in the matrix. I don't know if it was glitching on y'all's screen or just mine. I figured y'all's too. Yes, I did see Lumpy sneak in, by the way. Buff Del Campo. Love those Corvair 95s. Yeah, I think that's what that van was called, come to think of it. Dr. Go. Yeah, that makes it even worse telling him that, Dr. Go. You could have been his shuttle. Danny Boyd says Corvairs used air-cooled power glides. How'd that work? How did they? I mean, what? How did that possibly work to get power? Wouldn't it have to be some kind of transaxle? I've never worked on a Corvair. I have no idea. The only thing I know about a Corvair is they got that really cool setup where the belt makes that 90-degree turn from the top of the motor. I always thought that was kind of wild. Lone Ranch says we have a few Corvair pickups running around our area. Jay's Junkers asking Heavens Mopars, would you be willing to trade an old Dodge for the 63 Corvair Greenbrier van? Ooh. Could be interesting. Corvair Power Glide is oh, there you go. Yeah, I figured it had to be. I figured it couldn't just be a regular Power Glide. Huh, that's interesting. Well, I mean, there's a transaxle version of the 904 Torque Flight too. It's what came in neons. They had it's like a 31 or 32 TH. So it was a 904, but instead of having an output shaft, it had a couple of transfer gears and then a differential. And then you had your CD axles, but it was until you got back to where the Sprag was, all that was 904. It doesn't interchange though. Those parts, they look just like it. They're some of it probably does, but a lot of it's just different enough you wouldn't have much parts interchangeability. I've always wanted to try that because some of that stuff is like you could probably get some lighter weight stuff for your 904 doing that. We've got our northern folks. Thumper says the Tempest had the same transmission rear end as the C7 Corvette. Sounds like what they were discussing with my cousin Vinny. I like that our network all hangs out in person and online. Mostly Mopar. I believe he's in Georgia. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mostly Mopar. What part of Georgia, I don't know. Not off the top of my head. Danny Boyd says 62 Novas had an air-cooled Power Glide 2. Cooled via exposed torque converter. Yeah, I don't like that bell housing design, but I like simplicity, but that's one that probably will be better served with a cooler. Yeah, and that exposed torque converter, by getting rid of half of the bell housing, they would have a weak spot there. They could break there. Mostly Mopar says Middle Georgia near Dublin. I didn't even know there was a Dublin, Georgia. I want to rebuild a Power Glide. I've never done one. I think that'd be fun. I was watching a video, and I don't know how long it's been out, but that guy Broader Performance has a transmission shop. He built one of those. It's like an FMX that was in a Lincoln, same year as the one JFK got shot in, and he did a transmission for one of those. Pretty neat. It's pretty neat. He does a 10-part series on rebuilding that thing. Halfway between Atlanta and Savannah. Okay. Main Street Mopar decided to go with a Keith Black piston in his 318. Now, what made you want to do a 318? Main Street Mopar. Danny Boyd says FMX was used behind all three 351s. Ford never put a C4 behind any 351. Yeah, I don't know what engine it was, and I don't know what year it was. I guess it was a 63. Heavens Mopar says, I gave in and reinvested into a 79 Little Red Express yesterday. I stole from the Challenger TA exhaust and CUDA metal fund to get it. Put the cart before the horse. Need to sell the 78 D150 to replace the funds. All righty. Junkyard D wants to know what kind of compression Mean Street's going to get with his pistons. Most of the old parts. Wrong Ward had a productive day repairing the quarter panel on a 69 Super B. Wrong Ward sent me pictures. If I can, I'm almost afraid to move the phone because my internet's so sketchy. And here's a progress picture. Yikes. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Ron's got it going on in there. Thank you, GXEN. Appreciate that. Grand Pito Vic says, hit the like button, please. If you've not been following Grand Pito Vic, of course, he's building his LS. He somehow got a bunch of rust in the upper cylinders. Not sure what that was from, but it had to have water in there. As even if it got dry, it should have done that. The moisture got in that thing somewhere. And he got some rust, you know, but I think a quick cone, that thing's going to be just fine. But anyway, his story's getting deep over there. Lars puts up a link to the Lincoln transmission. Yeah, it was interesting. Of course, if you're a transmission nerd, I mean. Rabbit Transit J, hello. He's got his hone today. All right. Yeah, don't try to take them 10 over. Just a light hone. Left turn Dodge thinks the K8 KB are fragile. I will tell you, though, I mean, if you're curbing detonation and doing what you're supposed to do, they should be just fine. Evans Mopars can cross it off the bucket list now. I understand that. I had a classmate at Bluefield College that drove a Little Red Express truck. Beautiful truck. I don't know what became of it. I know the family sold it. Used to be a few of them running around my town when I was little, and they're all, you know, just vanished. Who knows where they all went? You would think they'd all still be running around because those trucks don't. It's not like any of them got junked or anything. So you think if you had a few then, you'd have a few now, but you don't see them. Dr. Go says Lars, the boogeyman. Most of the old parts, is according to my Stanley tape measure, I only have 102 inches of welding to finish it. Well, I think we said Scott had so many miles of MIG wire. 102 inches of welding to finish it. That's really not that bad. Grand Pito Vic says the starting fluid draws moisture, I found out. Okay. Guess it had a lot in there. Danny Boy says, I'd like to have one of those 302 Clevelands. Isn't that just a boss? You just don't need a lot of hone to clean that up. Not much at all. Weather changes probably cause the engine to sweat. Never use starting fluid. If everything is right, it'll fire on gas as it should. Yeah, well, I mean, this is a fuel injected engine, port fuel injected. I mean, I got to tell you, if you have fuel pressure and your injectors are getting fire, I don't really know why you'd need starting fluid at all for one of those, personally. Lumpy says he saw an F-150 with an FMX, had the transmission cooler mounted to the side of the transmission. I've seen people do that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of air speed going under a car. Miss Cat G's here. Hello. Main Street, what do you use fours? They weren't within my budget. I think your piston choice is just fine. Keep it out of detonation, have a proper ring gap. I don't see a thing wrong with that. Big Mike says, I have to keep slapping my own hand when it comes to procurement of coveted yet unneeded Mopars. Oh, you aren't kidding. Left turn Dodge has a lot of those little Red Express rotted badly because people drove them year round. That's all it would take. Evan the Mopar's working toward that duster. He's got 173 days, 3 hours, and what, 33 minutes? Yeah, that sounds about plausible there. Matthew Ward, howdy. No injector pulse. Well, there you go. Starting fluid dry. That sounds a whole lot more plausible than it drawing moisture. Brake fluid actually draws moisture, but I didn't think starting fluid did. Starting fluid will wash that oil off, though. Think I have it fixed now? Excellent. Well, just get that thing reassembled. That'll be great. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a Ford guy. 302C, I guess that's the 9.206 deck. Yeah, I don't know. Mopar Den, howdy. Wishing everyone well. Wish you well too, sir. Mostly old parts says thunder, and my dog just blasted through the door to hit under my desk. Jet there doesn't care about thunder. Every dog's different about what they care about, but some dogs I hear are just terrified of thunder or lightning or whatever. Jet there just could not care less. Doesn't bother him a bit. But then again, I have seen dogs that will just sit and watch motorcycles and not care either. So they all have their different personalities. Turbo Tom, sorry I'm late. We're glad you're here. Just general nonsense on a Friday. Junkyard D says can't confirm or deny if starting fluid was used in Jay's Corvair van. Starting fluid's great. Sometimes it's just needed. Ron says thermoquads don't have injector pulse issues. Just say, well, yeah, they don't. This is true. There are virtues to fuel injection and carburetors, either way. Dean says the 302 Cleveland 4-barrel had an 800 Carter thermoquad carburetor. Okay. Yeah, Twisted Mopar got some Holley, the HP or XP or whatever they are. They don't have chokes on them, but he's doing some carburetors for Busted Radio Garage. Grand Pito says he has two dogs that don't care about bombs dropping on Fort Bragg. The other one they give tranquilizers to. Dogs they all have a different personality. Mean Street Mopar needs to pick out a good, solid, flat tappet cam for his 318. I'm not going to say the W2 part, because I know that's real important. You got to let everybody know that you're doing a 318, but you can't let them think you're doing a 318. The real thing is the W2 heads. You should just call it the W2 motor. Small inch W2. Just call it a 318. They'll say, wow, that thing moves for a 318. I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, it's just a 318. Big Mike says, 1 out of our 4 dogs. Oh, wow, yeah. Flips completely out of thunderstorms. Ooh, yuck. No, I'm very fortunate, all things considered. He's actually laying in there, door open, and he's not barking, but we'll see. Usually about 9:30 in the east is when he starts saying, all right, enough of this. You get out of the office. Grampito Vic's engine sat for a month. I went to turn it over, and it was smoking, and the starting fluid smelled enough to burn my eyes. Oh, wow. Yeah, you clean it up, put it together. It'll be fine. Yeah, just email Polito and fill out the thing completely. He can hook you up with what you need to get a cam. Yeah, just email him everything. Go ahead and do it now. And then you can get him to talk about the specs and all that and why he does it on the live on Wednesday. I'm sure he'd probably want to do something like that. I'm speaking for him, but that's what I would do. Twisted Mopar has a blanket recommendation, Racer Brown for that. Be interesting to see what that Racer Brown, how close that specs out to what Professor P would come up with. I don't know, Grampito Vic. The W2 heads on that 318 would, certainly take any 340 ever. Or stroke 318, 392. Well, I think a 30 over is 390. A 40 over is 392 if you do the 4-inch crank. Circle track grinds. Okay. Well, not necessarily. They all have their things. It's a points distributor, though, for something like that, to just make something run is hard to beat. He'll have something interesting. Yeah, he'll have something good. Boy, there's some weird Ford stuff from 1971 to June of 76, a 2-barrel Stromberg. Whoa. Crazy stuff. Most of the old parts says, hey, Shane, I need a cam with 6-foot lift and 8 days duration. There's a lot of people that would say, is that the bottom of the page or is there one lower? The 392 is at 60 over. No, a 4-inch crank in a 318, 40 over should be 392. Should be. Yeah, because 30 over is 390. And yep, 40 over 318 is 3.92 and change. Dean says most people took the thermoquad off and put a Holley 500 2-barrel. I like the Holley 500s. Grandpito Vic's got grandchildren over. Cool, man. Y'all have fun. Says happy Easter. You too. Cutter Down Garage 303 says, upset my aftermarket billet distributor hitting my valve cover on 400 in the town wagon. It's just the nature of it. You got to make that stuff fit. Mostly Mopar says, started on some homemade fender well headers for my big block duster. Flipped a set of shorty block hugger headers upside down, cut a wedge out of a flange at the head to kick the exhaust flange out and run 3-inch pipe out. My gosh. What are we doing there? So we got block huggers upside down. So what are we doing? Making a header like a turbo header that comes over the top? I have to see a picture of that. If you want to send a picture of that, I'll show it on here if you'd like. Mostly Mopar, if you want to send me that picture, I'll put it up on here. Danny boy, yeah, there's a shortcut to doing it. I mean, you can you can roughly do that with the 4-inch bore. But a 318 is 3.91. It's just under. I just run it on the calculator. I just think that's easier. That's not exact either. Your Ford 302 was a 4-inch bore and a 3-inch stroke. And I think 4-inch bore and 4-inch stroke is 402. It's not quite exact either. Sweaty fat guy Thumper says, you Mopar guys make me feel even better about being into Pontiacs. I don't need great lengths to make things work. I don't know what that guy's doing with the headers. I kind of want to see a picture of those. I have no idea. Homemade fender well headers. I guess he's going to flip them upside down. Yeah, because with the angle on the head, we'll flip it up, and then he'll take I see what he's doing now. It's just a different way to make fender well headers. Cutter Down Garage 303 says, I've been a Dana 44 center steering bar straight on a live yesterday with a 16-foot leverage pipe. Okay. Miss Catchy says 406 is a 4020 bore with a 4-inch stroke. Yeah, it's close. It's definitely good approximation. Danny boys, I never could figure out the bore times stroke equation. This is really easy. Pi divided by 4 times the bore times the stroke times the number of cylinders. That's all it is. That's all it is, man. Since we're talking about a 318 pi, I use 3.1415926. Pi divided by 4, and then that's like 0.78 something, right? And then, and I don't simplify it. I know the bore squared, but I don't, because I want to tell people each step. So I just put it in there multiple times so you can see it easier. So it's at 0.78, whatever, 0.785, whatever, times the bore, times the stroke, times the number of cylinders. It's easy. Yeah, I said 0.785. Thumper uses the constant of 0.7854. That's fine too. I just usually do that part first and get it out of the way, because that's going to be the same for every engine. And then for each engine, I think of the bore, I think of the stroke, I think of the number of cylinders. That's how I do it. See, Thumper puts it right in the middle between the bore, the stroke, and the number of cylinders. I use it at the beginning because it's going to be the same for all of them, whereas the bore, the stroke, and the number of cylinders can be different for everything I do. But yeah, on an 8-cylinder, it works just fine. I have a way I figured out RPM and gear ratio with tires. And my way of doing it is probably goofier and more complicated, but it's how I know how to do it from the top of my head. I know that there's 63,360 inches in a mile, and I use that to figure out the number of revolutions the tires turn per mile, and I can get my RPM at 60, and that's how I do it. And then I work off of that to figure out my overdrives and so forth. I just sketched all that out and figured out how to do that one day. I didn't have any formula. I just figured out that's how to come up with it. Thumper says 4 times 4 times 3 times that 0.7854 times 8 equals 301.5. Now, my way lets me figure out each cylinder. How does my way not? I just multiply it by however many there is at the end. I do the 8 at the end. The only difference between what I do and you is I put mine at the beginning, and so it's not in the middle of the things that are different for every engine. You can do it exactly the same way with mine because the last thing I do is times number of cylinders. Same thing you're doing. Cutter Down Garage says you want 65 miles per hour at 2,500 for a 4x4. Sounds fine. Danny Boy says I did figure out how to calculate tire height all on my own. Yeah. I've really figured out a lot of automotive math when I was a kid, just figuring it out. Like for tires, like you do the P-metric tires. I sent a pic, I think. We'll see if we got it. Here's a tip for the P-metric tires for those who don't know how to do it. Let's say that you've got like on the van, it takes a 235/75/15. It's 235 millimeters across. So I take that, divide it by 25.4. Then I have the inches. And then that times 0.75, because that's the ratio of the sidewall. And then that number times 2, because the height of the tire is obviously 2 sidewalls plus the rim. So it's that number times 2 plus 15, and that's your tire height. That, of course, doesn't count, a tire height on the vehicle. That's a theoretical tire height like you would have in the mold. When it's sitting on the vehicle, it's going to be a little shorter where it, compresses down from vehicle weight. Heavens Mopar says, you guys have the knowledge. I just have the passion. The passion is extremely important, and nobody knows it all. But I'll tell you what, it's really great to have a lot of friends like you guys because we all have some little piece to contribute and know things. Yeah, figuring gear ratio is easy. Yeah, it's not bad at all. I just do it at 60 miles an hour for simple math, and then I scale it from there to get whatever I want. We all just have our different ways of doing it. All right, let's see what we have here. So here's what that, I've been wanting to see how this is going to look. So this is a shorty header flipped upside down, trying to become a duster fender well header. Oh boy, that's pretty wild. Where are we going down through the inner fender with that? Because usually your fender well headers exit back there underneath of the master cylinder, back behind the shock towers. Where are you going to exit with that thing? And then here's some stuff from Heavens Mopar Scott. There's a Challenger he's working on for Steven. Wow. I mean, he is down in there deep. Goodness. Got a lot to do there. A lot left to do there. Danny Boyd says you got to convert the wheel to metric or the tire to SAE. I convert the tire to SAE. That's how I choose to do it, because all the calculations I'm going to do with that are going to be SAE. So just go ahead and get it over with. Don says, all right. Been lurking, but have time to chat now. Happy Easter. Howdy, Don. Danny Boyd's a failed Algebra 2, though. Didn't see any use for it anyways. Well, people don't see any use for it till they do. I mean, I remember somebody telling me one time, you don't need geometry to build buildings. Literally. Okay, use it all the time. Dean Stevenson says the static wheel crush is 1.033 on Michelin tires, but 1.022 on the other normal U.S. domestic radials. Okay. Left Turn Dodge says, we used to race on P235-75 street tires back in the 90s. A 235-75 can have anywhere from 87 to 93 inches circumference. Well, this is true. I mean, that number I gave you is just, it's what the tire claims to be. But as you know, that isn't necessarily what it actually is. I mean, what I told you is exactly what 235-75-15 works out to. But those tires might not actually be 235-75 if you actually measure them versus what's on the sidewall. The best thing to do is take a tape, just like they check the rollout on race tires, and just take a tape and measure them and find out what you have. Miss Catchy says, I don't understand the reason the kilometer was worked out without assistance from AI. It was related to Earth measurements, as in circumference or even equatorial measurement like the nautical mile. I don't know. Cutter Down Garage says, at the truck stop, I had access to the kit with the little gears to recalibrate the speedometer gear. Yeah, Mopar's got several different gears. They're all color-coded, numbered little pinion teeth to calibrate your speedometer. Most of the Mopar says that header is going to cross over in front of the master cylinder and down through the inner fender well. Cross in front of the master cylinder and down through the inner fender well behind the tire. So you're going down through the top of the inner fender well, but behind the shock tower. Danny Boyd says, I'll argue for geometry every time. My favorite math, even though I don't remember any of it. Yeah, I like math. I was reading yesterday where the second longest lived verified person ever, woman from Japan, lived to be over 119. Didn't make it to 120, but she lived to be 119 and change. And one of the ways that she said she got such great longevity was keeping her mind active with mathematics. It's literally what she said. Actually, I'll actually find you what she said because I thought it was interesting. Let's see here. She said her last name was Tanaka. She wanted to live to the age of 120, and she made it close. She made it to almost 120, crediting her faith in God, family, sleep, Hope eating good food and practicing mathematics for her longevity. So there you go. That's her. She lived to be 119 and 107 days. So that's how she says you get to live to be that long. I have no interest in living to be that long. I mean, what am I going to do? Cut her down garage says 1 inch to 1.5 inches clutch pedal free play. I don't like a lot of clutch pedal free play because my driving style doesn't ride on the pedal that bad anyway. But I definitely, I mean, Dad's Jeep's got all of it. It's just free play. I got to get in there and figure out what's going on. I gave him a new linkage kit and he refused to install it all. And he wanted to just use pieces of it. And this thing from a junkyard, somebody had cut and welded. That clutch linkage is a mess on that Jeep. I gave him an entire clutch linkage kit. He just wouldn't use it all. He wanted to use pieces and this other stuff. And anyway, I need to find out why the thing just has no clutch pedal at all. It doesn't have much. It's got just enough that if you know how and you're careful, you can drive it. But it's not easy. Big Mike says, I never really attempted much regarding body work, but I'm planning to use the 76 Hornet to learn a few things on. I don't think I can make it any worse. Yeah, cool. What color is it going? Danny Boyd says, always use the gear which reads slightly high. Okay. Interesting. So I guess on the speedometer pinion, you prefer to use the one where it's close. You got one that's a little low, one that's a little high. You prefer the one that reads a little high, a little fast. Makes sense. Andrew Nelson says, good Friday to you all. Yes, sir. Dean Stevenson says, load rating for LT tires changes to tire tread depth. I didn't know that. I just know that they're really heavy, really expensive tires. So therefore, on those tires, the total rollout numbers vary. Cutter Down Garage says, one woman over 100 years old said 2 days sleep, 2 days awake. Whoa. Yikes. Dean says you could take up drinking coffee. No thanks. That stuff is nasty. Mopar K says, hey guys. Hello, Kay. Thank you for joining us. Andrew Nelson, how's your season going so far? The One-Eyed Cat asks. Mopar K said she'd make the best espresso I've ever had. I've never had any espresso. I've actually never drank a drop of coffee in my life, but the smell of it makes me not want to. I've never liked the smell of coffee. Mostly Mopar says, you guys have working speedometers? The van doesn't. It's funny you say that. The van does not. It's been on 95 378 ever since I got it. So I don't have a speedometer, don't have an odometer. It's got cruise control. So, of course, I got the 2 cables that go up to this box. I don't know. And I pulled the cables out and it didn't look like anything's wrong with them. So I don't know what's wrong with it. I'll trace it down and find out one of these days. I figure the mileage is already, I don't have anywhere close to an accurate odometer mileage for the vans. So I'm not worried about that anymore. But it would be nice to get back a speedometer, a working speedometer. So I do need to get back on that. And one by one, I'm fixing the ills with the van. It does not run right with this emissions 2-barrel. I've worked on it. I've got it running as good as it's going to with that carburetor. It's not bad. It runs okay. Gas mileage is horrible, though. But Dallas has got mine almost ready. It needs one more little thing with the choke pull off, and it's going to be good to go. You can watch the rebuild on that on his channel, Rochester Quadrajet. Great in-depth build on that he did, and it will be going on there soon. So whenever probably a little bit later this spring, we'll be making a trip down there. We're going to be swapping it over. So when was the last time you saw a 4-barrel swap on a conversion van? Cutter Down Garage says the body or linkage may be buckling and losing. On that one, it could be. It really could be on that one. I don't think it is, though. I think the clutch linkage is just garbage. He has so much cobbled up junk on that thing. I think it's more that. But you're right. I mean, you could have it all messed up around the Z-bar or something, but I'll check it out. I will find out what it is, and I will fix it. We'll figure it out. Yeah, Main Street Mopar, we don't need speedometers. It's handy. I'm an old man driver. I drive the speed limit or not even that, you know. I don't get into the driving crazy in the left lane stuff. I do not participate in that. I like to have a functional speedometer, but I've never been pulled over in that van, taking on some awfully long trips. Don says speedometer worked on the old Trans. This one, no. It's got the same gear in it in the same place. So, I don't know. Peckerwood Custom Aaron from the other side of the world. Howdy. Andrew Nelson says successfully finished sick week, broke a bunch of parts this year, but almost everything is back together. Lots of events coming up quickly. Oh, yeah, this time of year. Mexican Spec, Old McDonald, howdy. Peckerwood Custom says, I've got no speedometer and no fuel gauge. Dodgy combo. You know what? That definitely would worry me more than not having the speedometer is not having a gas gauge. I will be so paranoid. The Jeep is really bad because it's where it's got a leaking hose for the filler neck into the tank. You can't get the tank completely full. I actually ran out of gas in it not long ago, but I was right at the top of the hill where I could bump the starter and first get just to the top of the hill and coast. There's a gas station half a block away. Worked out great. But that was super lucky. And I didn't realize that the thing just would run out of gas like that. I knew Dad went to Kroger about every day putting gas in it. Now I know why. And I've driven that thing like, 45, 50 miles. I guess it's just gotten worse. The Empire of Rust, hello. Mopar K's first car show. Didn't win anything, but it was all Mopar, new and old. I loved it. Well, cool. Empire of Rust says the wrecker has no gas gauge, but you probably carry gas on that wrecker anyway, at least, right? Left Turn Dodge says his Cruster's gas gauge has never worked. Got to fix that soon. Yeah. Gas gauge comes and goes for the Duster. That's about par for any of these old cars. I mean, oh no, Old McDonald says, had my 650 Holly double pumper disappear from my garage. Yikes. I've got a couple of 650 double pumpers in the garage. One of them's got that defective main body that would just turn to dust. Sometimes there's a can on the back, whether it's filled or not. Oh, yeah, I hear that. Lars says, even with a gas gauge, I get close to running out more than I'd like. Yeah, I understand that. I know Unfinished Project doesn't believe in letting the gas tank get to half empty. Can't say that I do that. I don't mess around in the van. I get to a quarter tank, I get that thing full. Mexican Spec says, I've had gas gauges I couldn't fix no matter what I did. After replacing everything, still nothing. They're finicky, the way they work. And those cinders, especially those the style that sweep across, they can just be like that. I hauled stone soup without a gauge. Yeah, I mean, if you just really paying attention and know your mileage and all that, you can do it. Dr. Go liked having a 25-gallon gas tank on my old Grand Prix. Helped me reach the next station. Big Mike says, I got lucky yesterday after picking up my F-250 from the shop. I stopped to fill up with diesel. Someone forgot to reconnect the filler tube at the tank. Oh, no. Wow. So you just had diesel go out on the ground? I mean, I'm assuming. Mexican Spec says, right now the Durango is sitting. We are walking to the store and a taxi back home. Jay's Junker says, just registered for the No Name Nationals. Can confirm. All right, you're jumping in the No Name 500. Let me go here. Jay's Junker is up to 17 subs now. So he's our newest in the No Name 500, running last. He can do it. He is registered. $7.30 of diesel on the ground. Had to tape off the pumps. Oh, my. Dizzy says the gas gauge is just extra weight. Hey, people, best group on YouTube. This is a great group of people. Absolutely. $7.30 diesel on the ground. That's still just over a gallon of diesel. Mo Parquet is committed fully and registering as soon as Paul decides if he wants to run or no. Okay. Again, Colleen puts up the link to Jay's Junkers. So check it out. He's registered. And, you know, the Junkyard D crew there, they're made out of the right stuff. Look for Jay to make it happen. Dougster is here, but he's going off to take a call on his network there. 18 subs, 20 subs. Yeah, it kind of goes like that, doesn't it? I was his 11th sub today. Yep, you got this. I agree. No reason he can't make it happen. Mexican Spec says you're started with an interesting van. I agree. One-Eyed Cat says you have to want it and commit. We welcome you. Don knows, speaking from experience. Most Mopar subbed. Big Mike said a Walmart employee upped and put up some cones and caution tape. Yep. Mopar K says there will be a challenge to post a short every day for 30 days. Does help with subs. Yes, we do it every year. We do it from about I think it's the 5th of June so that it ends 30 days on the 4th of July. We do that every year. It's a lot of fun. I do it with everybody. It's a blast. There's a lot of people. We got as many people doing it who aren't in the No Name 500 as who are, because it's just fun to do. And that's the time of year when people are going to events and all kinds of stuff. So car shows, there's all kinds of summertime fun content usually for that challenge. I look forward to it. I think it'll be fun. Better known as Kamikaze J. Empire of Rust says, I hit 1 million total views the other day. Well, congratulations. That's a lot of people looking at a lot of stuff. Mexican Spec had a friend in Los Angeles post a picture of $8 a gallon for regular and $9 a gallon for diesel. As if we need any more reason to not want to live in LA, much less anywhere else in California. Engine Light Garage says, hello there, everyone. Charger 380 Mopar Williams in the house. Dizzy got new white striped tires for his Fury, factory size 215 75 50. That's the size I run on the CRV, actually. Jay Junker says, thanks, y'all. The van's an interesting one for one of my first projects, but I couldn't pass it up. Also got a 79 Dodge D200 conversion. With that and videos to come soon. I like that. I'm looking forward to that. I want to hear more about that truck. Tell us about it. Unfinished Project says, jump on in. He puts up the link to register for the No Name Nationals. If you've not yet registered, there you go. Charger 383 Mopar Williams says he's been working on the Charger and almost have it ready for its first drive after the rebuild. Yeah, you're getting close. The Empire of Rust is tomorrow. I'm going after a 72 Chevy van. I like the looks of those vans. I know the grill in 75 I really liked. I think the 72 may have had that same grill. I thought it was a good-looking van. My neighbor, when I lived at Bluefield, had one. It was lime green, a 75 Chevy van. It had white wagon spoke wheels, the kind William likes, like the truck-looking white wagon spokes. And it was a really nice-looking low-mileage van. And then I remember some guy broadsided it at an intersection and did a lot of damage to it. And I don't know how it ever wound up getting fixed or whatever, but that dude was the basketball coach when I lived there, and I don't know what I guess I'm sure he's retired now. This is a long time ago, but it was a cool van. I liked it. Super nice guy. Walt Ayers was his name, and I guess he's retired now. Gosh, that was over 30 years ago. Jay says B200 van, my mistake. Yeah, B200. Yeah, B200 is a van, 3/4 van. I'd like to see it. Like to race. Oh, you don't want me trying to do that. I've been down the track during the No Name Nationals one time. I'm good. When 8-12, it's something I don't remember. Williams said the charging system is giving problems. I hear you. I had to sort the one out on the van. It sure was a mess. It had a problem with the fusible link. I got the alternator redone by the guys at Dominion Starter. They did a beautiful job. And then I did a new fusible link and a new home run wire on that. And the charging system's excellent on the van now. I just took a little bit of troubleshooting, and I got it good. Left Turn Dodge had to go look. I'm almost to 100,000 views. Ways to go to get 1 million. You'll be surprised, though, because something will hit and get a bunch of views. You'll chip away at that number fast. Empire of Rust says the van looks like crap on the outside, but got a slick interior. Nice. Something. Jay's up to 27 subs. Just like that. You've about tripled your subs today. Danny Boyd says the first truck I ever drove, a 2-wheel drive bump side F-250. Nice. Now you're talking. I really like those. Had white wagon wheels, American Racing, I think. Yeah, and all a bunch of junk out of J.C. Whitney catalog. I understand. William likes the really sharp, angular white wagon spokes. I do too. I like those too. I know the Jeeps were a little bit rounded, just a little bit. It's very subtle, look nice. But I like the old school square ones. But I just like them on trucks. I don't like them on cars. William likes them on everything, I think. He says, I actually fried my MSD box from an overcharging alternator. I got another MSD box, and now it's all good. Good deal. Heavens Mopar Scott is listening from work. Glad you're able to listen. Hope I can do this justice or close to it. Left turn dodged at 465, 35 to go. I would say look next week. We'll probably be doing a 500 live for him. Empire of Russ is trading an 80 Blazer for said van. Danny Boyd likes chrome wagon wheels. Yeah, you know, when they got chrome wheels, they're just so hard to keep nice. William says, found a nice set of NOS, those wagon wheels for my 70 D100. Yeah. Mexican Spec said the white wagon wheels came new on the Wagoneers made in Mexico. A lot of them still have them in place today. Yeah, I found a really nice set on a CJ7 that hit the yard, and I got them and gave them to my dad for Christmas one year. Either Christmas or his birthday. I can't remember which. It's a really nice Jeep. Some student junked it because it had a rod knocking in it. It's really nice and solid. The body on it was great. And you think, who junks a Jeep over that? Because the hard part with a Jeep is finding one that's not rusty and garbage. But no, it was a student, didn't care. And this, of course, was 25 years ago or so. I was at New River at the time, so it had to be about 2000. No, probably before I went there. It was probably 2000, 2001, 2002, right in that area. Just living on wooden shoes. So it was between 98 and between 2000 and 2001. That's when it was. Danny Boyd said a lot of the older 8 lugs are 16.5. Yes, they were. Who all had an April Fool's video? I almost made one I think people would have enjoyed, but I didn't. Probably better that I didn't. I think almost all my videos are April Fools. Michael Schmidt, logging in on the way home from Santa Barbara to Los Angeles. Howdy, y'all. Mopar K says, I didn't do an April Fool's prank because it's rare someone watches all the way through. I don't want to have to tell everyone who didn't watch it. I couldn't care less about that. That's their fault for not watching. Because what will happen is if it's anybody you care about watching your stuff, you know, what's going to happen? Well, first of all, if they don't watch it all the way through, it's going to create a bunch of engagement on your channel. If they don't, and it's someone you know, everybody else is going to tell them, and oh, I should have watched it. I'll go back and watch it. Don't worry about it. I did one time where I put a 4.7, the overhead cam Dodge in the Dart Sport. I actually put it in the car. And I had people thinking that was really what I was going to put in my Dart Sport. About a 5-minute video. And at the end, I told people it was an April Fool's joke. But I had a lot of people going on that. And if there's a handful of people out there, probably a lot of people who watched it and really thought I was doing, I don't care. I don't care. Mexican Spec said the best is having them believe the prank for the rest of their life. Yeah, I don't care if they do. I got plenty of people that believe stuff about me that's not true. I don't care to pile onto that list with that video like that. Lars puts up a link to Lockpicking Lawyer's April Fool's video. Just know that that sense of humor is not for everyone, and it's not family friendly necessarily. But if you want to watch it, he does one of those along that vein every April 1st. Parquet says instead of dancing this year, let's do a short with asking people a question. Silly question. Well, everybody's got their things they do at the No Name Nationals. Welcome, Mohawk. I see Mean Street mentioning, but I don't see him in the chat. I take it he's here. There's a lot of people, the way the chat jumps, I don't see it. There's Mohawk. I don't see them come in, but I see others greet them, so kind of the tip. Dean Stevenson says, crutches are boomerangs that identify as sticks. Mommy Z Garage picked up a 93 Mercury Capri RX2 Turbo for my first race car. Sounds like a neat ride, actually. 93 Mercury Capri. We're going to be seeing content on that on your channel? Empire of Rust says, I may have the Scamp sold. Okay. What year Scamp? Definitely content on 93 Mercury Capri Turbo. I want to see that. So check that out, guys. The 74 Scamp. Yep. Yeah, the only way I can even readily tell the 73 from 74 on any of the Mopars is they did that goofy thing with the integrated seat belt. So instead of having a two-piece lap belt and shoulder belt, they went to the one piece that pulls across. I think that was a 74 thing. Is Tyner buying that Scamp? He seems to be collecting them up. Yeah, Scamps are neat, but it seems like only Mopar people know what in the world they are. I mean, Ford people, Chevy people never have any idea what Scamps are. A Scamp is in the Mopar world what's like a Buick Apollo is, or or Pontiac Ventura is in GM. It's a BOP Nova, right? And a Scamp is like the Plymouth Dart or whatever to non-Mopar people. Oh, and it's a 5-speed. Oh, very cool. A hardtop convertible. I've never seen one of those on that. A hardtop convertible has the hardtop. I'm trying to think when I've ever seen a hardtop for one of those cars. It's pretty cool. Kerosene Cucumber says, hi, everyone. Howdy. Yes, that would be Lockpicking Lawyer's video, okay? That is correct. A Scamp is a Dart non-Mopar people. They think that the Dart Sport, the Demon, they're all Dusters to non-Mopar people, all of them. And a lot of them will even say the Dart is a Duster. It's like the only A-body they know is Duster. Unfinished Project says 93 Capri RX2 compared to Miata. So there's a link to that. Check that out. Left Turn Dodge won his first stock car race in a big block 72 Scamp. Oh, cool. Mommy Z said it's a pretty rare car made in Australia by Ford Mercury. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of neat Ford stuff in Australia. We get posted on all that by all our Australian, our Aussies here, Aussie and New Zealanders who like their Fords. We got several of them in the community. Giggling at the comments of Dodge Duster had a 70 Demon. Yeah. There's a lot of that. I had a guy argue with me one time. He said that my Dart swinger emblems had been moved. He knows that for a fact because his uncle had one. They were on the fenders. And I told him very politely, I just said, well, in 70, they were on the quarter panels. Oh, no, they were on the phone. Whatever. You just love it. When I mean, you know, what do you do? Engine Light Garage says, I have a few sneak peeks on some shorts, but she just put one up of the shorts and we went and got it on her channel. Oh, cool. Yeah, I used to argue with people who were just wrong like that. And now they're probably wrong 100 times a day and I don't hear it and it doesn't upset me. I'm not going to let it upset me when I do hear it. Just ignore it and go on. Dakota's timeout. Big Mike says, speaking of sister brands, locally there's a Mercury Bobcat for sale. Yes. People think they know, it's a plague. Mexican Specs, there are, quote, experts everywhere. Yes, there are. Yes, there are. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like, I'm pretty good on the old A-body Mopars. You know, I know them pretty well enough that other Mopar people who aren't A-body people often, you know, ask me or some other people when they want to find out something for sure on an A-body, what year it is. But that's just my little niche, right? But like, if I had a question about a dent side Ford, this guy on YouTube, the Dent Side Depot, that guy really knows. That's really his wheelhouse, right? If I have a Pontiac question, and these guys in the comments can tell you, in the past, I've had a couple of Pontiac questions. There's a few guys I'll ask, you know, who just really know Pontiacs. If I have a Buick question, I'm asking Dallas. Everybody here's got their specialties, and we've got Ford people, we've got Chevrolet people, all kinds of Mopar people. If I have a weird restoration question, oftentimes Ron Ward is the first person I ask, right? I mean, we got all kinds of specialties here, and it's wonderful. There's just no reason to think you have to be the reference for everything. I don't know why people do that. I mean, but I make no bones about it. There's all kind of stuff I don't know. Now, Dr. Ghost says our 70 Duster was the Valiant Duster with Valiant fender badging. Yes, that was a one-year thing on the Duster, I believe, in 70. Because the Duster was 70, and then Dodge got its counterpart for 71 with the Demon. My dad actually ordered a brand new Duster in, I think it was 70 or 71, brand new. And then he found a 68 Falcon low mileage that some old woman was selling and canceled the order on the Duster. But you know, I think back about that. What if he hadn't found that Falcon, our family car would have been a brand new Duster when I was a kid. Slant six. I don't remember if he got it with manual or automatic. Probably automatic. Probably. But Dad, of course, loved the manual, but I think he would have gotten that from Mom. Dakota said, and Mom drove his 4-speed Chevelle too, but I don't know. I take all that back. Come to think of it, Dad, knowing him, he got whatever was cheaper. And 70 was the first year of automatic standard with manual being the no charge option. He probably did get automatic because it was $287, but that year didn't cost any more. The Empire of Rust thinks No Name Nationals are Mopar heavy, loads of Mopar folks. Yeah, but you haven't been in a while, and it's changed. The first year it was the heaviest. It was about 55% the first year. It has dropped down to where it's about 25%. 25, maybe 30 at the most, but it's dropped down over the years as other makes have come in. Mexican Spec says the small badge in Mexico 69 was the last year Plymouth name was used as a make, and they started to use Valiant as the make. Oh, I didn't realize that. That's cool. Coda says Ford 460 doesn't even have a 4-inch stroke. Yeah, but look at the bore on that thing. It's massive. What is it, 4.36? Lots of nice cars in 2020. Lots of nice cars every year. We've always had a wonderful show in the cars. Turnout, it's great. Unfinished Project says only 25 Saturdays until the No Name Nationals in 2026. Take his word for it. That sounds about right. Sounds right on, because there's 52 weeks in a year and we're 100 day 174 on the orange paper. Dr. Go says, our 70 Duster came as Inviolate Purple. People thought my 40-year-old parents had lost their minds because they didn't pick a green or brown conservative. Glad they didn't. That Inviolate color looked great. That's very close. 25 weekends. It is what it is. I'm just saying. This is the thing. I had a mentor of mine said, the clock and the calendar wait for no one. The late James Yeager said that. And actually, him saying that is something that's always stuck with me. Okay, I took some firearm training classes from him many years ago. He's a philosopher of the art. Smart guy. We miss him. He's been gone, gosh, 3.5 years now. Died from ALS. But one of the many things he said I remember was the clock and the calendar wait for no one. And also said, my calendar doesn't have one of these days on it. It doesn't. My calendar has, days. It has months and days. It doesn't have one of these days. So I've never forgotten that. And so I know that in the back of my mind is a lot of what inspired this, the orange paper. Fury 3s don't get enough respect. Maybe not. But the Fury is definitely coming around as a popular car. The Fury is definitely a popular car. Let's see what Dakota sent us here. Let me know if you come across a set of closed chamber 351 Cleveland. Well, you're not asking for much. There's your big boat. Let's see here. Evans Mopar Scott. My dad bought with cash a 70 344 speed Panther pink Duster right after Vietnam. Owned it one day short of 3 weeks. One semi was passing, another chose the ditch, and the van T-boned him. Split the car in half. Oh my! He says no fatalities. I'm glad you said that, because that was my question. Oh my gosh. Dakota says the Furies are cool, like the one in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. Yeah, that's a really cool car. I'll tell you the Fury I like. I mean, I like a lot of them, but I really like the one that Fred Dreyer's character drove in Hunter. That old NBC show that ran in the 80s, Hunter, about the detective, I guess it was. It was a dark green, like a 77 Fury. That was cool, man. I like that. I would love to have one just like that. Police wheels in black, dog dish hubcaps, the dark metallic green, and I want it to be nice. I mean, I like ratty cars, but not that one. I want that one to be really nice, working air conditioning, nice interior, and a 400. A nice stock 400. Well, I say stock. There's some garbage about 77 that just really needs to be addressed, but the 400 is just a beautiful engine. Empire of Rust. It's a Principality of Monaco, 166 of 2000. That sounds very sophisticated. I don't know what you're talking about. Dakota says, so far I've got the car, a 351 modified, a C6 transmission for only a few $100. That sounds like you did all right. The Fury and Thunderbolt and Lightfoot was a 70. That is correct. It was earlier. It was the C-body Fury. Cool car. Looked really cool. Was all jacked up in the back. It was a cool car. I like it. I like the one in. If I was going to have any car from the year I was born, it would be that 77 Fury from Hunter. Junkyard D said, I would love to have the 66 VIP, which is higher trim than the Fury. Okay. How about a 71 Coronet wagon in green? Anyone want one? That sounds really cool, actually. I can't even really picture what that looks like. Is that on your channel? Danny Boy says, I think 58 might be my favorite T-Bird. I can see that. Those are, yeah. Man, a lot of those were demo derby fodder, though. The baby birds, the 55, 6, and 7s, of course, those people all liked them, kept them, all of that. But the 58s and up, a lot of people just sent them to the derbies and scrapped them and everything else. And at the time, retroactively, people don't like what they did with the T-Bird. But I'll tell you, making the thing a 4-seater, making it practical and all of that, it was a practical move. Main Street Mopar would love to have a 69 or 70 two-door Fury. Sure. I think Cope really wants like a 71. Unfinished Project puts up a link to the Fury 3 in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. So there you go. Dizzy says mine has a beautiful black interior. Cool. 63 Thunderbird Principality of Monaco edition. Ah, wow. I have never heard of such a thing. I'm more educated now. It's not on the channel. Be publishing soon. Yeah, I kind of like those wagons that you just don't see anymore. He said all these cars had 390s. My research and Cruise-O-Matics. That sounds right. Cope's Fury is 71. You say that in the present? Did he buy another one, or is that the one he had? He had a 71 that had an engine fire, and he pulled the engine out of it with a Coronet. Did he buy that green one he was drooling over or something? Junkyard D liked the stacked headlights on the 66 Fury. Elvira loved her 58, 59 T-Bird. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, had a late 50s T-Bird like that. Dean Stevens says the Glock and the calendar wait for no one. He scooped up another 71. Oh, okay. Is that green one? Big Mike said that the 68 still had the stacked headlights. Cool. Yeah, he photoshopped a 71 grill in it, so it's a 70, right? And he's putting a 71 grill in it. Empire of Rust, he makes it happen with the wrecker. Okay, Scott sent me a picture of that Duster. The pink Duster that got cut in half. Looks like it took the entire front clip off of it. So by, a short margin, is that guy even, did he survive that? Look at that. Wow. Took the whole front subframe off of it. What a nasty, violent wreck. Glad he survived that. Laura says, I remember only one thing about Elvira. I remember when I was younger, there was a, I'm trying to remember what it was. It probably was a video rental store. I don't remember. It was on Main Street in Whitfield, and they had a poster with her advertising something on the glass. And apparently some old woman ran the place, and she she took the liberty of taking a piece of tape and censoring the Elvira artwork. Cassandra Peterson, yeah, that was her name. I do remember that. Danny Boyd did a little block sanding and cleaning today. Yeah, Lars remembers one thing about Elvira. Junkyard D remembers too. Mo Parquet's got to roll out. Thanks for coming by. Have a great weekend. Mexican Spec was recently contacted from a guy in Wisconsin saying he might want to buy a few to resell there. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Unfinished Project puts up a link to Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, free with ads. Oh, is that the movie? Is that? I can't even remember. I wasn't a fan or anything, but I know who the character is. Mo Parquet says, you have a good one. What we say in Mississippi, I say thanks for noticing. That's what we say in Virginia. Dougster says she aged well. I guess. I don't know. Wasn't she on... Was it on... There was some things she was on with the car. Was it Counting Cars or one of those car restoration TV shows or something? She's in her 70s now, but aged better than Daisy Duke. I'll leave that one alone. Yeah, see, how do I remember that? Gosh, that was probably, 10 or 15 years ago when I remembered that. Heavens Mopar says, Dad survived 2 years before I was born. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt, slid down the road on his back over busted glass. Oh, broke his nose and a rib. Guy in the van lost a leg, had his leg amputated. His wife broke a hip. Oh, gosh. Most of Mopar said, I step away for a minute to buy it now on some Go Fast parts. When I get back, y'all are talking about Elvira. What happens? Yeah, Dougster. Yeah, see, I think I did get that right. I knew it was one of those car restoration shows, but I couldn't remember which one. But that does make sense with Danny the Count Coker. That makes perfect sense. That's what she would have been on. Yeah, these markets are becoming smaller every day where, Mexican cars are going up and I get it. I get it. How many different cars are there now, classic cars, that can be built with all new parts? Like, I mean, completely. Body, frame, and all. How many are there? I mean, we know the Mustang, the Camaro. What years are those Mustangs and Camaros? The Bronco, the old Broncos now. Aren't they making a Temu version of that? I mean, how many different 57 Chevy? I think the 56, probably the 55 too. How many different cars can be made with all new parts? Danny Boyd says 69 Camaro. Yeah, well, I know. 57 Chevy, right? There's a lot of them. But that, of course, we know what that's going to do to fraud. '67 Mustang. Yeah, I was thinking that. Dynacorn body for that. 28 to 34 Fords. Yep. Yeah. I'm not completely sure how I feel about that. I mean, on the one hand, I guess it's cool that we're able to do that, but squares are pretty close. Yeah. Can you get the cab and can you get the frame? I know you can get every part for them. How close are we with a square body Chevy? The Cobra, that's right. The Cobra, that's correct. Of course, that's been a kick car forever, though. That one I even forget about because it's been so long it's been that way. It's amazing how many you can get. I've seen the frames marketed. I'll tell you what's kind of surprising me. It's one of these that we probably hadn't thought about too much before, but the Chargers, that 69 Charger has gotten so insanely popular because of the Dukes of Hazzard that I would not at all be surprised to see the 68 to 70B bodies coming soon. If Wrong were in here, I'm sure he would have his finger on the pulse of that one. Evans Mopar said with his insurance, he bought a plum crazy 344 speed Duster. Okay. Said it ran like a dog compared to the pink one. He thought of the Hemi Challenger, but it knocked his hat off when he got in. So funny how these things are. Michael Schmidt says the VW Bug and the VW Van. So you can buy a reproduction steel Bug body now, because they only quit making those not all that long ago. Mexican Spec would know when they actually stopped making those. And when you say VW van, I assume you mean the bus, the Type 2 bus, correct? Because when I hear VW van, I think Vanagon, I think water-cooled. And every one of those just about that still exists in the world is right here. There's a guy up the road from me. I stopped and asked about making some content there, and they said, oh, no, a lot of people have. There's enough out there. Didn't even ask the guy. They weren't friendly at all. But there's a place up the road here, and you can see it on YouTube in Pulaski, Virginia. He's got, I know I scanned and tried to count and approximate one time. He had over 300 in one location. The VW water-cooled vans from the 80s. The mother lode of those things is right here. Dougster said LMC makes nearly the entire 67 to 72 GMC. Okay. But they make the cabs, they make the frames. Good night, Dizzy. Thank you for coming by. We're glad you were here. Left Turn Dodge says for the 69 Charger, you can get almost everything. I'm not sure you can get the inner roof structure yet. But can you get like the rockers and the full A-pillar, the body? Can you get the body reproduction? You can get all the sheet metal. We know that. Because I think the Charger is going to be the first one that you can get an entire body. Yeah, Scott's Heavens Mopar Scott said, yeah, tell me about it, getting that inner roof structure. He went through a lot to get his. Mohawk says, I remember J.C. Whitney selling Jeeps and VWs complete bodies except for the VIN tag. Ooh, was that just a really bad aftermarket crate body? Is that what that would have been, Mohawk? Because I would never want to own anything like that. Dakota says you can buy a body for $69. Oh, yeah. I think it was one of the very first ones we were seeing made that way. I think Dynacorn makes them. Left Turn Dodges, you can get all the outer sheet metal, floors, frame rails. Yeah, I know you can get all the outer sheet metal. Indecisive Garage. Hello, Tim. Thank you for coming by. Had dinner with Tim last weekend. It was a treat. That was fun. Good to see him. Wendy English is back. Dougster says, when I was in high school, a guy I knew hoarded the Toyota vans that the drivers and passenger seats flipped up to service the engine. Oh, yeah. I know those things. I knew someone who had one. I thought they were weird looking. It was a Previa. Wasn't that what it was, a Previa? He had 12 of them, mainly silver. Hey, if that's what floats his boat. Danny Boyd said, I've seen full dent side bodies, but the guy won't sell to you unless you prove you have the cage's chassis, I suspect. I don't. But do they reproduce them? That's what I want to know. Pre-Previa, the 80s. Okay. I know the one you're talking about, Dougster. It's a weird look. The van almost looked like it was the same going forward and backward. I know the one you're talking about. You know, like when you take a loaf of bread and you don't really have room for it in the freezer, so you kind of angle on it, and then it comes out frozen, shaped like a trapezoid. That van. Yeah, exactly. The back looked like the front. I've gotten stuck behind people in line at Walmart. I can say the same thing about. Travis's Mopar Garage says, I made it. Howdy, Travis. Good to see you. Still don't know what Danny Boyd means here, unless you prove you have a caged chassis, I suspect. I don't know what that means. Danny Boyd says, I think those vans used contemporaneous Supra front bumpers. Really? I've never thought about that because they use Supra and Celica wheels. I did know that. I recognize the wheels. I didn't realize that about the bumpers. Never thought. Empire of Rust, Scott Rock, y'all take care. Good to see you. Glad you hung around tonight. Travis says, I have a surprise coming tomorrow. Stay tuned for a video. Sounds like that's going to be neat. Sounds like something that'll be fast. Caged chassis. And that's a contingency for buying a new cab. You're talking about something else. You're talking about like race stuff, I guess. With VW, first there was an air-cooled, then there's a water-cooled. Yeah. I mean, the water-cooled stuff, they started doing, I guess, in the 80s. I'm a fan of the air-cooled stuff. I knew somebody when I was in grade school. His dad had a white Vanagon like that was the water-cooled version. Uh-oh, I said 9:30s when he would come up. I heard him getting up, waking up from his nap. Did you wake up from your nap? Don't start carrying on. Give me 11 and a half minutes. Come say hi. Come on. You want to come say hi? No, he's just going to bark at me if I go back to talking to y'all. Danny Boyd says those van bumpers sure look like super bumpers. The 70s was the Rabbit, the Dasher, and the Scirocco. Crystal and I stopped at Rural King in Huntsville this afternoon and ran into the young guys with the Watson. Oh, cool. All right. Don't come in here doing that. Come here and say hi to them. Come say hi to them. Either go wait for me or come say hi, one or the other, but don't stay there and look at me. Old Jethro. Usually 9:30s when he gets up from his nap. Thumper says Deegan's eyes open, but he didn't move with the barking. Yeah, he recognized some friendly fire over here. All right. Give me a second. Faked him out. See how long that lasts. May just have to shut down a little early. Unfinished project set a CUDA built from all new pieces. So you can do a CUDA all new. New body too, I'm thinking. That's right, I forgot about that. Left Turn Dodge says Tank isn't even reacting to it. Jethro doesn't react too much to dogs on TV, except he loves to watch the Rescue Dog show that comes on, I think, halftime of the Super Bowl every year. He loves it. Jethro will sit and watch the TV for a half hour without blinking. Just come over here. Come say hi. He's sitting at the door watching me. He could come over here and say hi. You know, come on. Come say hi. No. Wet rag. I think one time in all the years he came up here and said hi to y'all. Show him some dog videos on YouTube. Well, he loves the Rescue Dog Show. Every year. He sits at the foot of the bed, sitting up, watching it. It's pretty cool, actually. I think I got some video of him watching the Rescue Dog Show. He finds it exciting, and I'm always like, you could do that stuff. Yeah, the rots, and I've seen it from YouTube. I don't. Dougster, channeling his inner Stewie Griffith, says 80s VW Scirocco is a great sporty car, light and fun, especially with a 1.860. Didn't Stewie ask for a key to a Volkswagen Scirocco? All right, give me a minute. I'll be right back. Okay. Goodness. He had to get repatriated. Brought the rots into PRI. I like PRI. I only went to one time, I think in 2022. Really out of the loop? Yeah, me too. I don't know. Thumper says Deegan gets excited watching Girl with the Dogs grooming videos, especially Huskies. Our neighbor has a Husky, and Jethro was talking to it this morning. Never actually, I don't think Jethro's ever met that Husky out in person. Husky never goes out of the house. I've never seen it out of the house. Unfinished project. A guy from high school had a Volkswagen Scirocco or however you pronounce it. He painted it lime green and had a license plate that said VBNVUS. Okay. One time, if you guys remember, Finnegan and Freiberger had that Lincoln that somebody had cut down from a 4-door to a 2, but it had the 2 really short doors and it was super short wheelbase. Anybody remember that goofy thing? It was a Lincoln that they had cut down and bobbed into this real super shorty, goofy looking car. Well, I passed that thing on I-40 one time, and I had no idea who was driving it. I passed the car. I saw the guys driving it. I waved. I did not realize for months later when I saw their video about the car and they had it piled full of waffles and all this goofy stuff. I just saw those 2 guys driving it down the road. I didn't know who they were driving at the time. The missing link. Okay. I remember seeing the car. It was definitely it. They drive it through Deals Gap. Sounds like a place near here. Not so much. What about the trip to Alaska? I don't know. I've never been to Alaska. I actually had an offer to go there one time. I should have done. Dougster says, back when I worked 70 to 84 hours a week, Roadkill was a godsend for me. Yeah, that was a fun show. I really liked the original Roadkill episodes. They were great. I think my favorite one is where they went and rescued that barracuda out of a junkyard and took it and raced it. It's pretty cool. It's kind of what we're doing, but we just have a lot more time to do it. Reliable Rust Garage says hello. Hello back. Isn't Jay's Junkers having a premiere afterwards? Link, please. If one of the mods could put up the link to Jay's Junkers, he has a premiere kicking off 15 minutes after this live. Miss Catgy says, never been to the U.S. You're in Australia, right? That's what I was thinking. We need Canadian, Mexican, Australia, New Zealand, United States, and California. Then we'd have 6 countries represented at the No Name Nationals. Indecisive Garage visited Cope today. Good visit, just short. Yeah. Thumper says Australia, South America, and Antarctica are the only continents I haven't been on. Miss Catgy from Oz. There you go. Here is the link to that premiere. It'll be after this live. You guys have time in there to take a little break. I think it's 15 minutes after the live. We'll go to time and then we'll wrap up. Thumper says he's been doing the roadkill thing his entire adult life. Barrows comes by a minute to go. Howdy, Barrows. Sliding in here just under the wire. Evans Mopars turned down an opportunity to help restore St. Peter's in London. I didn't know where I'd live or commute. One of my biggest regrets. Big Mike's son just got home from Japan today. Deliver soup, tell me more. Sounds to me like one of these people who, he's not the guy delivering, of course, you know, that's they're making a living, but people who would order soup from DoorDash, it's kind of what that sounds like. Which, that whole thing is just wild to me. World of Wood Chips says all the cool kids are here. Almost all the cool kids. We always have a cool crew here on Friday nights. Thanks for joining us. Danny Boyd, he admits that it's all cut and covered with him. He tries to make them look good, but leaves the rest crusty where the rest aren't going to see. Kind of the opposite. Like, I've got there's a lot really good and clean and nice and straight on that van. To the outside, you'd never know it. Definitely works better than it looks. Ah, okay. I was wondering if he was door dashing, fulfilling his gentleman duties for someone under the weather. That's much better. I was wondering if somebody, had ordered like a bowl of soup and wanted it taken 20 miles or something. Because I hear these stories from DoorDash, and they're always just like, wow. Dart sport, but we're at time. I see we're at 10. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for coming out. It's been a lot of fun. Welcome Jay's Junkers to the No Name Nationals. He's in the No Name 500 now. So we got 7 channels running, and he's got a premiere here in 14 minutes. Travis has the trailer hooked up and ready to roll out in the morning. All right. Don't forget to watch Tech Talk Live on Wednesdays on the Slant Daily Garage channel. Get your tech questions answered there and ask your Triple Crown questions. I'll be live again this upcoming Friday. You guys have a great and safe Easter weekend, and we will see you all again very soon.